Fonzarelli Show.
They kind of announced it last week it was coming, but I kind of forgot about it. But
Yeah, I did too.
The Matrix trailer got released. Of course, joining me, I got my co-host Khiim in the house. Khiim, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Not much, man.
Yeah, I was taken aback from that. It looks like the tone, like they're taking 2 steps back instead of taking 2 steps forward.
Yeah, I definitely got that same kind of vibe. Just watching it initially, like, I mean, to start off, I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited to see it. You know, like this movie was such a cultural like impact. You know,
Yeah.
it's an icon, and it's not even just with movies. Like it definitely changed the way movies were being shot. It introduced like the whole slow mo effect into movies and everything. You know, the coin term, the Matrix. Oh, he's doing the Matrix, or you know, but just to the psychological aspect of it and conspiracies and everything, it was a huge cultural impact.
Yeah, well, it was visually ahead of its time.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
the concept was like amazing at the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as the trilogy went, you could talk about the directions it could have went in and everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, however it wrapped up and everything. But the actual lore, did you ever watch that Matrix cartoon?
I didn't know.
There was like a cartoon and guys doing little short stories because it's a very rich idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if they nailed the landing on the actual, like, making a trilogy out of it. But like I said, it feels like it took a step back and they're kind of like, it's got a WandaVision kind of thing going on.
Yeah, from what I caught from the trailer, this is just speculation. It almost seems as we have like a Neo who's now kind of like he's got that amnesic effect.
Yeah.
And you know, they're showing like multiple scenes where he's like dealing with all these blue pills, and it's not just one. We're seeing like hundreds of blue pills in the sink, and it just keeps showing these. And I think that he has some recollection of what happened.
Yeah.
And he's expressing it, and that's where you see was it Neil Patrick
Harris,
yeah, you see him telling him like, oh, you're not crazy, we don't use that word. So I think it's some sort of effect like that, and I think we will get, and you see towards the end of the trailer where he's doing things that kind of echo off of the first 3 movies, but now it seems like he's got even more control. So I think we're gonna see a full-fledged like aware Neo at some point in the movie.
Yeah, because I think the Neil Patrick Harris is probably prescribing him the blue pills.
Yeah.
Because I keep forgetting which one's which. But then, of course, they show it the red one. And you ready?
He's like, take the red pill. Yeah.
Time to switch over.
Yeah.
But at the end of the Matrix trilogy now, Neo's dead and Trinity's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I had a couple things going through my head because the same way, like there's a digital imprint of your brain that you're projecting, the same way if everything's all ones and zeros, could your mind have been copied?
Yeah.
Because even at the end of the first trilogy, that the architect was telling Neo about like how you've come once before or you've whatever. So there was a part where Neo looks like he's like his face just changes and he's somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he doesn't really even look like Neo.
Okay.
Like, what if he's this other dude, but it's just Neo's exact brain?
Yeah.
But kind of, they've done it in movies before, like Patrick Swayze. So Ghost and Patrick Swayze, when Whoopi Goldberg like takes over and like, you know, they hug the girlfriend and everything, but they show you Patrick Swayze again.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same kind of idea. It's like we're looking at Keanu Reeves, but I think it's the other body. I'm not positive. I'm just going from what we've seen.
From that, yeah.
But what if the same thing happened to Trinity? So now, because Trinity doesn't have the kind of powers Neo has.
Yeah, not at all.
So what if Neo, either subconsciously because he was so powerful, or either did it to himself? I don't know if the Matrix did it to him because he kind of made that deal. Oh, we got a call coming in.
Nice.
What's up, Bob?
Hey,
what's
Joe.
going on, dude?
Hey, it's Bob.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, buddy?
What did you think about the trailer?
I liked it a lot. I was waiting for someone to say something about Morpheus not being there, and I couldn't wait. So I said, I'm going to call it to be the first guy to say it.
I thought Trinity wasn't signed on. I was surprised to see Trinity. I thought I read somewhere that she wasn't signed on to be there.
You know what, Trinity. She was so robotic in I loved the first movies. First off,
yeah,
I loved those.
Yeah.
And do you remember, Joe? Do you remember when we seen that movie?
It was. I think we were living at home. I think we were. I think we're like
We've seen
17
that
or
movie.
16.
I was working in the movie theater, and I don't even think we've seen a trailer. It was just I would get to see every movie for free.
That's
So I
right. Those were
called
some good
you
times.
Yeah. So we were just like, oh, hey, there's a movie out. Let's go see it. And we sat down. And in the beginning, when he wakes up in the new world and everything, and we're like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then you're lost for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of it, we loved it so much. I can't remember if we did it either right after we went and saw it again, like we watched it twice in a row, or we went back the next day and we seen it again. We liked it so much because we got to see it for free. So we just kept going to see it again.
Yeah, and it might have been a thing where like we took other friends that hadn't seen it yet and things like that. But yeah, I remember watching that a lot. What did you think about the tone, Bob? Did you catch that they kind of looked like they slowed things down, which might have been better for it because we've seen every special effect you could do in a movie. So okay, like the first trilogy got lost story wise. So this thing kind of needs to be story driven almost to redeem the franchise.
Yeah, I definitely seen that, and them being older like they were. And Trinity was cool because in the first movie she was so robotic.
Yeah, and
it was cool seeing her seem to have, even just in the little bit that you saw her in the trailer. I liked her a lot more for some reason. Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah,
it was cool seeing her like a human being instead of just the leather bound robot kicking butt.
Yeah.
So I like that, and I was a little worried about Morpheus not being in it. But when I seen the guy playing young Morpheus fighting Neo, I seen why it kind of worked, because it wasn't just seeing these old guys doing the thing that they did 20 years ago or however many years ago again. It was like it was a reboot, but not a reboot at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
Like a mix between a reboot and a sequel.
Yeah, I want to say in the second movie that the architect kind of went over that the Matrix has been reset multiple times. This wasn't the first time that it's been run through with same characters or same, you know what I mean, variants of different characters or everything. I even want to say that from my understanding of the last movie, that even though when they died, that outside world of Zion was still a part of the Matrix. That they thought they were free of the Matrix, but that's still a part of it.
I thought
there was multiple layers of it.
Yeah.
I thought the resolution, if I remember correctly, was like people had a choice if they wanted to leave or stay in the Matrix.
Yeah. So
I don't know how that unravels because they showed something of Zion, but still the world is still decimated. You can't fix that in a day. So I don't know what
I think
the status is.
I think what it was is Zion was just another level of the Matrix. How they woke him up the first time.
Yeah.
They're still sleeping to some extent.
That was another thing I noticed because
Like Inception. Like a double Inception.
Exactly.
But Trinity, they did show a scene of Trinity getting woken up from a pod.
Yeah.
So that's where I get confused again.
Yeah.
So maybe she really is. I don't know. Did she just? Because I thought her real body got killed. Mm-hmm. Unless the Matrix, it was part of the deal with Neo, like the unspoken stuff, the arrangement he made. Because what was it? What was the guy? The agent.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, because he made that deal with the Matrix at the end, like, yo, I'm the only one that can stop Mr. Smith. And then they just kind of show the robots taking Neo's body away.
Yeah.
So maybe it was an unspoken part of the deal, you know?
I think it's just something, I think it's a program that runs over and over. Because you see at the end of the last one, the Oracle, and you see the architect sitting on the same bench.
Yeah.
And even though they kind of seemed in the movies that they were of opposition, that the Oracle was leading him in one way and the architect was leading him in another, at the end you see they're sitting on the same bench and they're just like, okay, goal achieved.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but you know what? Because I was thinking that too, and I remember people saying that before the trailer came up, like, oh, it's just another reiteration or whatever you want to call it, like just another one of those ones that you seen in I think it was the second movie where I was looking at all the screens. It's like, oh, here's 1,000 of you trying it over and over.
Yeah.
And I seen that and I was like, well, that's kind of lame. It's almost like saying it's just a dream. But one thing I just thought of now is what's different about this is that they're older.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe they carried him off because they're not making them up to look like they're young again.
No.
Yeah.
So 20 years must have passed in that world. So now they carted him off and maybe things are still happening. The deal fell through. You know what I mean? It isn't just a redo that we're watching. Maybe it's a true sequel.
No, I think it is.
I think
Go.
it is. I think that I think it's some sort of echo of what we've already seen. Because you kind of see, even through the trailer, you've seen certain scenes that echo off of what we've already seen through the first, second, and third movie. So I think it's some variant. I think he's supposed to be going through this again, but because he has that awareness, he breaks through what he was supposed to be going through. I don't think we would have seen the Morpheus and Neo scene again of him trying to be like, oh, okay, well, here's the red pill or blue pill, you know?
The weird thing is that the Matrix, like, assuming Neil Patrick Harris is part of the Matrix, just guessing off a little we got to work with, like, or he's not, like, they're keeping Neo alive, but they want him suppressed. Mm-hmm. So either they're just honoring the deal, or there's some kind of loop that they might find out, like what the architect said.
Yeah,
there's some kind of loop that needs to repeat itself.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what the nature of the relationship is with the people of Zion.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think it was a piece. So is it? We only saw a flash of it, but is there some kind of arrangement? Like what do the free people do?
Yeah,
they don't have to hide from machines anymore. But how do they? Their planet was still decimated. So what's the that relationship is interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. See what happened to them, or like what transpired after resolution.
Yeah.
Maybe people revolted and screwed the deal. You know what I mean? Like, you have your good people that were making the deal with the robots, and then you got like a different faction of people that screwed it all up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because we definitely do see a few new characters.
There could be something like,
I like seeing Neil Patrick Harris in there.
Yeah, just like a fresh face.
A fresh face, and he was. I don't know if you guys seen Gone Girl or any movies that he's done, or just any movies that he's done, but he's good. Like, at first I heard his name, I'm like, how does he fit in there? Yeah. But then I remembered he's really good. So I think he's gonna be a good addition.
What do you think that one character is? Where he's like basically saying like it's funny to see how everything comes back to the beginning, back to the Matrix. What do you think his part is?
I took him as like the new architect.
That's what I took it as too.
Or reconstructive architect. Oh, and going back, because Bob said something we totally glazed over. Is that supposed to be young Morpheus? I don't know. It's like he's dressed like Morpheus.
Yeah. Dressed like Morpheus. It's the same scene over again.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
The same ultimatum of red pill, blue pill.
They're in the same room, and Morpheus never died, but no, because Keanu Reeves is alive, and Lawrence Fishburne's still alive. So it's like, it's possible. So why is he? Is it a younger projection of himself?
The Matrix is a projection. Yeah, it's a projection of yourself. So just like your hair changes, why wouldn't he make himself younger? And that reminds me, I was going to tell you, I think he's going to show up older when they go into the real world. Because when I seen he wasn't in it, I'm like, not right. There's no way they're not putting him in this.
I agree.
He was
no
an
way
Ant-Man.
because they're friends. Yeah, he was an Ant-Man. They're friends with each other, and Keanu Reeves put him in John Wick, which I still haven't seen the other John Wicks yet, and I want to see.
I haven't seen any John Wick.
I haven't seen either or any.
Oh my god,
that would be a revisit.
The first one. I seen the first one, and it was so good. And just for the second and third, just haven't made it to any streaming things that I have. I just haven't gotten around to figuring out how to watch them.
Yeah.
But fantastic movie. So I seen an interview with Morpheus, and he said he was like, I was talking to Keanu. And I told him, I said, that world is awesome. What do I have to do to get into it? Mm-hmm. And Keanu says, oh, funny you mentioned it. I got a spot for you. Yeah. And they're friends. They stuck him in. So them being friends like that, and just him being such a huge part of it, I can see when they go to I forget what the real world is called, but the
Zion.
Zion, yeah.
Zion. Thank you. Yeah. So I think they're going to go to Zion, and he's going to be there. That actor is going to be there.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne. That'd be
whatever,
great.
Yeah, because people announce things just to announce things for the surprise. Like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are still like, I don't know anything. I don't know what's going on. But they're just, they keep it real quick.
You got to leave something.
Yeah, you got to leave something. And it would be that would be the nice little twist, because like we say, we're trying to gauge from this guy. But why would, just a piece of the puzzle, like I said, Lawrence Fishburne was an Ant-Man too. So the Matrix comes back. He's not going to say like, I'm gonna sit this one out. Like Neo's back in, everybody's back in. Like, why
he's
would
not
he?
too cool for franchises.
Yeah, he's not. He's especially if you saw the script, because I really believe this one's going to be story driven.
Yeah,
it's going to be like the unraveling, because we all know how the Matrix works. So the whole point of the whole thing, like I said, it keeps bringing me back to WandaVision, is we know all the information. So we're unraveling what's going on right now.
Yeah,
what exactly is happening right now?
Did you guys get chills watching it or anything? Like, were you excited just seeing it, just like from outside point of view? I didn't expect much, because for some reason I was like, and when you see like pictures of them filming and you're like, okay, you see him on a motorcycle and it's not the movie, all whatever. The trailer, I blasted it. I turned the lights off and watched it like I'm in the theater, and I'm excited about it.
Because my initial reaction was like, okay, it's like Spider-Man. It was like, yeah. You're just like, you're waiting for these big like reveals and the big character to show up. And there's rumors like the next trailer you might see Andrew Garfield. This is all internet stuff, so who knows what's what. But my whole thing was like, when I saw the trailer came out, I was like, let me go home and watch it. And it wasn't like a mind blown, but not in a bad way. It was more like, man, I really want to see what's going on here. Like, that was engaging as far as a trailer. Like, it sucked me in. Did you kind of get that, Khiim? Like, what's happening here? Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I watched. Okay, so before we started the show, we watched the trailer one more time. But prior to that, I watched it 2 times. My first initial time watching it, I kind of maybe it's because it was just everything was going, and I was like the first soaking and everything.
Yeah.
But I kind of didn't like it at first, because I was like, I hope this isn't just a whole bunch of like Kodak moments of like, hey, remember happened in the first 3 movies?
Yeah.
We're doing it again. You know what I mean? Like, remember when...
I got a little bit of that. It's a lot of the same shots, like the same fights.
Exactly. The same places, the same scenes, like just rerunning of like, oh, remember when we were in the dojo and fought? Remember when Neo was on the top of the roof with the helicopter?
Yeah.
Like, oh, remember when he stops the bullets? Like, I kind of got that initial reaction, but then I watched it again, and that time I was more like trying to like, okay, let me pick this apart, and that's when it got more interesting.
Because what they're not showing him doing the backwards and dodging the bullets.
Yeah.
And they're not really, besides one moment where he pushes whoever Morpheus representative, the guy in Morpheus's role.
Yeah.
Whoever, that's like his first like realization of his power. But I don't.
I think at that point he is realized.
Yeah, but even if they rearranged it, even the parts in the motorcycle, he doesn't look like he's totally confident in what's going on.
I think at that point when he's with Morpheus, I think he is realized, because he warns him, like he tries to tell him like, I'm not that person, like I'm not the one. And then that's when he kind of does that.
One thing that I noticed from the trailer that I never even considered, which in hindsight it seems pretty stupid, but one thing I noticed in the trailer when it wasn't Mr. Smith, but it was a different agent when he did his changeover, but it was so much cooler than it was back then. And it dawned on me, I'm like, I didn't even think of this. The technology is so much better now.
Yeah.
Once stuff starts going nuts, we are going to see some crazy special effects. Because remember how cool Matrix was compared to 1999?
Yeah.
Now they got 2021 technology.
Yeah.
And it's the same producers. It isn't some guys, some random people rebooting it. It's the same directors, people making it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be visually stunning in its own, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I hope so. Now I'm thinking about it when you mention it, like those scenes where he would jump in the air and freeze, and the camera would pan around him.
Yeah,
and I think even Howard Stern said something like, I think Howard Stern said like, "Hey, they took that from me. It was actually something he did for his TV show or something, whatever."
His intro actually, yeah.
It was the camera at the freeze frame, but still it was still awesome, like breakthrough visual effects. The problem is now is what's happened since then. You got Quicksilver. Like X-Men Quicksilver running fast, pushing bullets over.
Yeah.
So the pow, zip, boom, visual effects. We've seen everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing visually you could.
Yeah, but them using that technology. That's what I think. It's the Wachowski sisters now, I guess.
Is that a sister or a daughter? I'm not even sure.
That's You don't know this? It's two brothers.
Yeah.
No,
One of them
I know
had
that.
a gender reassignment, and then the other one did also.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
nope,
then-
missed
and
that.
that's they had a name, and the name that you've seen, that's the same. Instead of the guy, it's the girl now. It's the same person.
Yeah.
I did not know
It's the
that.
same
I
brothers.
thought
But now it's sisters.
I thought it was like
I can't believe you didn't know that. That's funny.
no, I thought it was like a Ron Howard's daughter situation. Like, hey, I'm going to take over my dad's
No,
project or
no.
something. I totally didn't know that. So
No, it's them, and that's what I'm saying. It's because I don't know if you ever watched any of the behind the scenes of the Matrix way back when, but they show drawings that they did, like they were drawing a comic book.
Yeah.
And the big scenes and the big fights, they had shot for shot like pictures of it, like they drew it. So like
Okay.
the people that were shooting and everything, they're like, we knew exactly what to do. Like his hand was here, the camera was here, his face was here. They had so much input. It was so much came from them.
Yeah. They were
More
very
than you would
hands-on.
think for a movie. Yeah, they were so in it. So them having new technology, yeah, we've seen, and everybody's been ripping the Matrix ever since.
yeah,
But so yeah, we've seen guys fly, and we've seen guys do this, and we've seen guys do this. But having these guys putting the awesome soundtracks like they do, and directing it like they do, I think we're gonna, you know what I mean? I think it's gonna have that same look, but so much better.
See, Matt, when I initially heard The Matrix was coming and Keanu Reeves was going to be back, I thought it was going to be like they do a lot with these sequels to old franchises. So what they
Yeah.
do is they bring in your new, they're handing it a torch. Keanu Reeves is going to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi that, kind of, like the Luke Skywalker in the trilogy. I thought that was the role he was going to take. Like they were going to make the one, and Keanu Reeves is going to be like the wise say, but it's totally. I'm just saying, like the first thoughts that came into my head, I assumed they're going to focus on a new cast, and Keanu Reeves is going to play his Luke Skywalker
Yeah. His
role.
mentor. Yeah.
I like this approach better,
Yeah.
where he's like kind of refining himself because we know his past. So it's not like we have to unravel the mystery of his past.
Nope.
We need to unravel the mystery of how he got to where he is and watch him unravel his past.
Yeah.
And that'll be exciting. As he figured, because it's actually really cool because we know who he is and we know what it's capable of.
Yeah.
So it's taking a story from a different angle. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
something.
It's more. Yeah. It's more finding out. All right, what happened in this world?
Yeah.
Versus, okay, let's see what Neo can do. We all know what Neo can do. And actually, Matrix, the trilogy, started to peter out because once you show that a guy is basically God and could just do whatever he thinks and fly and make you explode if he thinks it, it's like, okay, where do you go from here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that he what he's capable of. The question is why is this still happening 20 years later? Why are they still in there? Like you said, like I didn't even when I first heard it was coming out, it was like, how are they gonna? I wasn't thinking so much the in-depth story of it with Zion and everything. And after the trailer, now I'm curious, like, okay, what exactly happened? What went wrong?
Yeah. Once again, it's the WandaVision vibes. It's like we know everything that happened, so we know this situation isn't right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of unravel the mystery
Yeah.
of how they got to where they are.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of his capabilities, what do you guys think about some of the new stuff we see him do? He's redirecting missiles and like all kinds of stuff. He's letting out light orbs out of his hands, almost like Dragon Ball Z-ish kind of stuff. Energy waves out of his hand.
Yeah. I guess because
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think 'cause he's just a master of the ones and zeros, so he
Yeah.
might even have because at a point he basically, like Bob said, because he's basically Superman, could do whatever he wants. So if he's just even not fully aware, I mean, if you could run the ones and zeros, you could create an orb, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So if he accidentally does it as a defense mechanism, we could see him do stuff he hasn't done before, just because he's super capable.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if Superman, if you're watching a movie about Superman and he got hit in the head by something, and you watch him just like wander around, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden he crushes a steel
Yeah.
pipe, and he
Can't
doesn't know
remember who he is, but
Yeah, be like, oh, he's gonna do it. Here he goes. He's
Yeah.
gonna fly. He's gonna do something. Is that kind of exciting? I think that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna see like it's gonna be one of those the stand up and cheer moments are gonna be like the first time he does something cool. I don't know if it's with the Morpheus guy, but things like that.
Yeah.
where he just starts to find himself and realize himself.
I hope it won't be that scene.
Yeah, and Khiam had a good point where he's saying, like, the first time you watch it, it's kind of like, okay, so they're just going to redo it. But then you watch it a second time, and you're like, okay, it's redoing it, but it's more interesting than that because it's him getting back there. You know what I mean? It isn't so much him getting there. It's like, okay, how is he going to get back there? And it's I think I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, and I feel like after seeing the trailer, I'm like, okay, I'm sold on it now. I feel like he got a chance at telling the story and keeping me, not being just like, oh, the first one was a dream. He was really alive. He didn't really die. He's been fine this whole time. You know what I mean? It seems a little bit more in depth, deeper than that now.
Here's a question for both of you. Do they do this? I know which way I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards a one-shot movie. But do you think they would jump on? Well, but you know what? The state of movies right now, it might not be the. Could this be the Logan of the Matrix? You know what I mean? Like that one story-driven finale for the character.
So you think just a quick drop to like end the questions that we kind of had?
Yeah, and just kind of
round everything out.
And I don't want to say redeem like the Matrix was the worst thing. I'm just saying end it better, like a better sense of closure.
Yeah, because Resolutions was definitely left open-ended. There was too many questions afterwards.
Yeah, or maybe make it like a little richer so that instead of making it. Bob said before I think we were talking about like a Batman show or something. He was like, you could skip Matrix 2 and you don't miss nothing if you go right to 3.
Yeah.
So the same question being is, what if you make 4 the end and then 2 and 3 are like the middle?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like but make 4 like the resolution to where like you get that closure for Neo and Trinity, whether I don't know what their ending is or whatever.
Yeah.
But to relaunch and let's make the new trilogy.
Yeah.
I could see it burning itself out again.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't see like another 3 movies of this unless this one is just like completely taking it in a different direction.
Like I
don't think it's necessary for another 3 movies.
Yeah, I like the idea of watching Matrix again and revisiting that world, but I don't know if I want to revisit it 3 times again.
Exactly.
You know
exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Well, can I
jump in.
Can I put that question in another way is, did they write it as a standalone movie is the question. And I hope that they did. And I'm okay with them doing more of them afterwards. But when you write a movie, anytime a movie's written like in the way, I can't remember, there was one trilogy I watched with my kid and it was just written like Golden Compass. And like it got to the end of the movie and it was like, okay, this big war. And then the war didn't happen. I was like, okay, next movie, war will happen. And then they didn't even make the second movie because the first one was terrible because it didn't have any sort of climax or anything to it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But Matrix 1, you could have not made Matrix 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And it's a standalone movie on its own. And it does sort of have an ending. It's a sufficient ending on its own. And hopefully they treated this one, like the second Matrix. Like that's why they say there's never a sequel that's better than the first.
Yeah.
Because once you make the second one, you're leading into the third. Yeah. So the second one, there is no climax at the second one to where it's fully finished. So I'm hoping, I hope it isn't Logan and then they just say, okay, we're done. Because that would just be sad, if it's real good. But hopefully it stands on its own. And I think that they should always make them like that.
But sad's very powerful. Like Logan is almost
God,
it is hard.
Huge powerful.
Logan was so good.
Fantastic movie.
And it was so good that Patrick Stewart, and even Patrick Stewart's playing Picard again. So it's not like he's like, oh, I'm too good for this or I'm too good for that. But like he was sitting next to Hugh Jackman watching the movie, and he just said they just looked at each other because he knew Hugh Jackman was done, and Patrick Stewart's he's like, you know what, this is too good. I'm done too.
Yeah.
Now with this multiverse, there's rumors that they're in talks and stuff, and Hugh Jackman's fighting it because he's like, I had such a perfect ending. I don't want to ruin it.
Don't want to open it back up.
Like Godfather 2 and they do Godfather 3.
You're killing Logan.
Yeah. Now. Yeah,
you're killing Logan by doing this. Yeah, because that's one guy who can say you're messing with the. Yeah, because Logan was. Did we do a Logan episode? Or did you guys do a Logan episode?
We did 2. I did one with Khiim, and I think I did one with Paul because the movie was so good. I did a show and I did a revisit. Like I could do a 3rd Logan show. Like I kind of like thinking. I've actually toyed with it. It's like, I can do Logan again.
I can do one right now. Let's start it up. Fire up the credits.
Yeah, fire up the credits. We're gonna roll a Logan show. Maybe we'll put that in the idea in
that's
the think tank.
Yeah, that's one of those that comes on like if you have HBO and you're flipping channels and you see it. You're watching it.
Yeah.
You're not passing it. Whatever point it's at. Oh, what a fantastic movie.
What makes it cool is like if you take like the ups and downs of like the Logan arc and you say, okay, this movie was good, this movie was bad, but it just takes like the best of everything. It acknowledges everything happened, but it just zeroes in on him. But it doesn't zero on him where he's so introspective about it. It's just like, okay, this is the movie saying, you know who this guy is. Here's his last big story, his last hurrah, and it's very Logan based because of Laura and the X-23 stuff. But like I would like to see the Matrix do that same kind of thing, where it's like let's give it a better ending than we gave it.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's really relevant because it does compare because it's the same thing. It's like. Logan didn't.
Well,
really,
will it compare? That's the question. Is will it compare?
Yeah, but if they're shooting for that,
it can, but will it?
Because like Logan didn't reference his appearance in Age of Apocalypse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he took the good. They just said like, okay, we know everything that happened. Here's where I'm at now, and that's the kind of thing I like to see with Neo. I'd like to see the Matrix get the Logan goodbye that the Matrix never got. I don't think any hero, even Iron Man. Yeah. I don't think Iron Man got as good as goodbye as Logan.
Oh.
Because
I don't know.
Maybe he did.
That was a rough one.
You know what?
I don't know.
That was a rough one.
No, you know what? He did because of
that wasn't
the arc.
tearing up. That was like weeping.
No, you know what? I take that back because his arc.
It was like being at a live funeral.
No, I'm not saying the power of his death. I'm saying as far as ending the guy's arc. But his arc kind of weaved consistently through everything. So I take that back.
Yeah.
But. Yeah,
can I jump in and say something about Logan real quick before we move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Well, one funny thing about it is I've watched it and I was like, you know what? The one thing I didn't like was I got to see Hugh Jackman kick ass when he did the beast mode thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, you didn't get to see him do it a lot. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I'm like, wait a minute, he was playing the other guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's him. And like I was so sold that was a different character, different person. I was like, oh wait, that was still Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Weapon X kicking butt that whole time. Like, you know what I mean? Like for a split second after movie, like I forgot. I'm just like, oh, I wish Hugh Jackman got to kick a lot of butt too.
Oh, he had scenes.
Weapon X doing it. He was both characters, and they were both just destroying it.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely believe they were separate characters, that they weren't the same guy.
I think back to X-Men 2 when he was the cops were raiding the mansion, and he went on a straight up killing spree. But they made the excuse later because the movie was like PG or PG-13, and Hugh Jackman was like, "Well, if you look really closely, I didn't hit any main organs." But he's just stabbing. He's stabbing the SWAT team like left and right in the kitchen.
It's through and through.
Yeah, it just went right through some ribs. He's good.
Flesh wound. All right, guys, I'm gonna bail.
All right, Bob. Hey, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, man.
Definitely very interesting and engaging. And it's almost, even though this movie is like 30 or something years old, it's actually the most refreshing thing I've seen.
Yeah.
Like it actually, it's actually something surprising.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm very interested to see what happens with that. I told you before we started recording, like this, between that, Spider-Man, what else? This Dune thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a busy autumn for us.
Yeah,
but,
strange.
A lot of strange. We got a lot of cool things coming up, but I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I want to thank you, Khiim, for being here. Always a pleasure, buddy.
No problem.
And we will see you guys.